Hi folks, Nick Tockert here with Nick Knows Nerf. Tonight's video is a tale of two blasters. Um, I recently, when I was out thrifting, acquired a blaster. And I'll be honest, it was a blaster I did not want to acquire. But I realized in good conscience I had to. And at the price of $1.99, I did. This is the Nerf Agility. Let me peel that sticker off. They get a little annoying after a while. The Nerf Agility is part of the new N1 series of Nerf blasters. It is very familiar as a form factor to Nerfers across the world, in that it is a 6-round top prime secondary. Uh, there's nothing terribly exciting about it, except for the fact that it does indeed fire when it chooses to. Let me see. And one block darts, which are these guys. Now, we'll be getting into the importance of the dart a whole lot in another video I'll be shooting, but for now, we'll gloss over it. This is a Nerf Elite dart. This is an old Nerf Elite dart, but it's the same idea. And the problem is that many companies have used their own version, but fully compatible with Nerf Elite darts. Okay? So Dart Zone uses these when they do full-length darts. Zuru, X-Shot uses these when they use full-length darts. And honestly, they've been improved greatly, like with these guys, the classic waffle tips. Okay? Nerf really hates when other companies' products are compatible with theirs. In the past, they did things like create funky magazines. They did things to create to prevent the use of other darts and items through what you would call the dart stud that runs up the middle. So if we grab this, which is an old Nerf Maverick, you can easily, well, relatively easily, there is a dart stud in there. And that was allegedly to keep foreign objects from being used to, as a safety issue. Well, nowadays, I truly believe it is simply to make you have to buy their specific darts. Several years ago, they had a whole line with a similar lug at the back. And the lug, when it's pushed, pushes the air release to allow the dart to fire. The problem is, first off, these lugs they have a bad habit of getting knocked off. And I will go much more into that in that future video. But my problem with this is I was opposed to it. So I was going to not buy the Nerf N1 line at all, to just avoid ammo compatibility problems and supporting. I don't like that DRM stuff. Plus, I heard real quality issues. Now, I saw this, and this for $1.99. I figured I'd get it. The thing was, at Goodwill, it had all 6 darts still in it. Now that bothered me. That bothered me profoundly, because that is not something you normally run to at Goodwill. So, on a whim, I cocked it, and then I pulled the trigger. And at the time, it did not fire a dart. It just jammed because they weren't lined up. So being me, I checked this and I fidgeted with it and I got it to work. but it left me with you know, a ponderance, and it made me realize something. We talked about the Nerf, what we refer to as the Nerf Action Experience or Nerf AX. It doesn't have a publicly released name. But if you look at these two blasters side by side, they take up very similar amounts of volume. They have very similar priming systems, very similar design language. But that's where the similarities start to stop. Because remember, this was designed to be sturdy enough to last. It's reinforced. The plastic, I squeeze it. There is here maybe the slightest bit of creak. When I try to pull the cocking spring, there's very little wobble here. The spring is stout. It's snappy. The main spring fires, but fires a little different. This does stick to the Nerf Elite standard of between 60 and 70 feet per second very consistently. A tank of a blaster that does its job. This is not. I did have to adjust it. It had worked loose the timing gear, essentially the part that lets it rotate. When you pull this back, it works mechanisms and lets it rotate. That worked loose. And I realized it didn't work loose through misuse. It worked loose because it has really bad tolerances. And that brings us to the other problem. When this blaster cocks and, let's see, it actually jammed in there. There we go. Partial misfire. Tell me it's not wobble. Well, look, you can see it's trying to wobble loose again. Go on. Settle back. There we go. I'm going to do this so you can see me load it. You know I'm not doing anything shady. But it fires at about 90 feet per second. And that excites me because to me, as a longtime nerfer, that range of 90 feet to about 100, 110 is that optimum effective range. It's the effective, without being excessive, range for a dart. You have enough that you could fire, but people aren't getting hurt even at close range with the impact. Okay. Now, one thing, if you look, this is shrouded, but there is no, rotational, sure, but there is no major side-to-side wobble. There's wobble, but very little. Okay. Here, there's a lot of wobble. Can you see how much it bends on this axis? This is significantly lighter. I don't know if you can hear the plastic creak, but the plastic is actually quite a bit creakier when you handle it than the AX. And it is a little better than the Alpha Strike line, which is not saying much. But the ergonomics aren't as good. The weight just feels strange. It's hard to explain. It's like this blaster, which is very light for to be friendly towards younger nerfers, doesn't ever line up. And I've had smaller hands. Whatever your hand size is, because of this angle of this guard, over time as you're squeezing and running, you end up pinching the living tar out of your pinky. It's kind of tragic that way. And I can forgive that. I can forgive that this is a very new blaster and somehow wiggled loose. What gets me, though, is when it works, you'll have very different. Do you hear how snappy that last one was? you have different FPSs, so it's very unstable. That's the one I was looking for. It, and I don't know if it's specifically that chamber, but it will wobble loose, and the seal between the dart, which is in the cylinder. So if you look, do you see the amount of daylight that is between that cylinder? It's just not. The tolerances just aren't there. They cheaped, and you can tell. The other thing is the placement is strange, and it's much worse when you realize that they sold almost exactly the same blaster, but only put 4 in there in another set. Nerf is only making 2 or 3 blasters and then vaguely reshelling them right now. It isn't right. And you can tell the mindset change. This was meant to be sturdy. This was meant to last, because this breaking down and being replaced would cost the company money. This misfiring would cost the company prestige, because this was built to get people into Nerf, to go, wow, that feels like something solid. That works. Tonk, tonk, tonk. And yeah, we're still working at elite ranges, but consistent. This is a quality item. This is what you look for in a quality blaster. This, again, while better than the ultra budget lines they put out, just, it feels plasticky. It feels weak. It's very hard to explain. But when you pull them side by side, it's a great sense of what they can be, but what they are. Because if this breaks, it costs the company money. If this breaks, it makes the company money. And I'm sad to put it that way, but in direct comparison, when you see the mindset, it kind of stings. When the N1 darts fire, they're fairly, they're fairly functional, but I worry, and I've already encountered ones that, because I have another N1 dart blaster that I bought, the Pinpoint. I got it also for $1.99, which is why I picked these up. And it had some darts in the magazine, and I was firing them, and the butt tip fell off, the lug, so it wouldn't work. On its own, this is not a bad blaster. Okay, I don't want people thinking I'm bashing it, but when you combine the weirdness of the darts with the, like I said, creakiness of the action, and the fact that it wobbled itself loose on the inside, I'm just kind of saddened. And I mean, they do fire when they fire, and they perform fairly well. But we are at a time where, there it is. Womp womp. I hope that last one just going was on camera, because a blaster as new as this, even one that got picked up at Goodwill, should not do that. And I know I'm testing out of the box. I'm not testing it out of the box, but I think I'm making a point. I have blasters that Nerf made decades ago that I acquired and fired just fine. So what I see is corners cut, and the desire to be non-compatible with their own products for years and with the entire industry. And I think it's going to turn around and bite Nerf in the hiney. And it was all done with the mentality to try to push the "it's Nerf or nothing" uh, tagline. And I'm sorry, 20 years ago, but right now, Busby is making some far more reliable and superior blasters at the same price point or near price point as the Agility. Dart Zone is killing it. Zuru is coming up from the back with their pro blasters, but we're not talking pro. We're talking casual blasting. Backyard blasters. They still matter, and they still need to function and work properly. I do love Nerf. I've loved Nerf since it came back. Since it came out. I love what Nerf can be. And honestly, given the raw amount of money that Hasbro has, I would love to see the mothership, the OG Nerf blasters, make a resurrection. I would love to see them become what they could be. Oh, I have an unpopular opinion in that I love the Torrent. My Torrent is a great blaster. It's pro, but built sturdy. My Sender, I got one of the good ones. It absolutely rips. Built sturdy. Now, I know there were manufacturing problems in the release of both those blasters, and I know the ergonomics are bizarre on both those blasters. But a blaster has to blast. Before anything, if I'm evaluating a blaster, if I pull the priming handle back, however I do it, take aim and squeeze the trigger, it needs to blast. A foam projectile needs to come out from it consistently and easily every time. That's what a blaster should do. My time with this let me see. Has led me to find that it doesn't always do that. When it works, I'll be honest, it's nice. But reliability has to come first. Then comfort and style and all that. And I'm not sure, guys. It just speaks to a change in mindset. When Nerf went from thinking this is how a blaster should be built and presented to the public, if not marketed, to this, something happened at the corporate level. You'd have to rewind a few years to know the details of it. I have my suspicions, but it saddens me. That being said, it's not too late, Nerf. It is not too late because they can go back. This blaster right here is a testament to it. It's not the fastest, by far. It's not the prettiest, but it is a reliable, consistent blaster. And I'm just praying it's not the last one Nerf makes that foam fling. Just like I'm praying you don't get rid of the rifle line, because I still love them. So, don't take my word for it. Go out, buy one, see if you like it. Get in the commentary. Tell me what you think. Okay? But it's my opinion. that if you are the best in the business, you should not be afraid of imitators. And if other companies are making a better product and underselling you, undercutting you, that is, overselling, you don't reinvent the wheel. You just make your better product or you lower the price. That's how you compete. You make a better blaster. So Nerf, I challenge you today, make a better blaster. And then send it to me. And I will gleefully say you're back. But till then, I'm going to be watching. And I hope you are too. I hope you guys go out and have fun flinging foam. I really don't have a link to where I bought these because I got this at Goodwill for $1.99. And I didn't even pick this one up. This one was picked up and delivered to me by the lovely Dawn Dulas. So, thank you, Dawn. Guys, it's supposed to be fun. Let's keep it fun. I'll see you next week for another episode of Nick Knows Nerf. We might be breaking down the difference between all these different dart types, because it can be confusing for somebody. What are these, and do they work with these, and what are those end things? If that's something you're interested in, hit me in the comments, and we'll see y'all real soon. Keep flinging.